Why do you need to stress test a new show? Well, theory can only take you so far, right? It might be good in here, but then you need to actually try it out, right? And a preview is not a show, it's not a performance, but it's a controlled failure environment. So the goal is to expose the weaknesses under live conditions. And I needed to test some bits out before spending thousands of pounds on, well, I say before, I've already spent thousands of pounds hiring venues and stuff for the Edinburgh Festival. So, oh God, I hope this show's good. Oh God! And performing every day at the Edinburgh Festival is a marathon. Believe me, it tests resilience as a performer and as a human being. So regardless of how comfortable you are on stage, research shows that standing in front of people is mad. It's mad! You're standing in front of... It's basically a sort of fight or fright thing, yeah, or flight as well. It arouses... What does it arouse? It arouses... Don't do this motion. It arouses physiological responses and psychological distress. So we're talking elevated heart rate, stress hormones, anxiety due to fear of bad reviews, heckles. There's a whole variety of reasons why performing on stage induces quite a lot of stress. And why do I do it? I don't know. Well, I suppose it's like anything, right? At some point you reach a stage in your career where you have to be evaluated by the external world. Oh, not the external world! But one thing is certain, if your show is rubbish, it's going to be very difficult to turn up every day with the required love, passion, energy to honour not only yourself as the performer, but the story which is in your care and the duty you have for your audience, you know, who are giving their time and their energy and their money to be entertained. So if your show is rubbish, it's going to be very difficult to turn up every day, and I would know because my first Edinburgh Festival was... I remember crying on a set of stairs in the rain, rocking back and forth, listening to David Bowie to somehow motivate myself to get back on stage, knowing that my show was rubbish. We can be heroes just for one day. Right, Eric? God, it was such a bad... Oh, God, it was such a bad time. So let's have a flashback to my first 1 hour show back in 2011 titled Where's Eric? So we'll take a look at the lessons that I've learned, and I'll be asking some important questions that you need to ask yourself when stress testing a show. Something that I did last weekend at the Leicester Comedy Festival for 0-1. So let's go do it. Let's go to it. I'm trying to think of a catchphrase. Let's go. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a little bit hyper because it's day 2 of giving up coffee or any caffeine, and I don't like it. I don't like it. Okay, so I did my first preview at Duffy's Bar in Leicester. And afterwards, I went straight to my hotel to do some analysis and talk out loud my initial thoughts. But I could tell that I wanted a break. Yeah, time off. There's another mirror over there in the bathroom. And because there's a mirror here, the reflection of me over there is then being reflected again and again and again, like a sort of, like multiple parallel versions of me, which is actually very fitting for this last week of mine. In the last few days, I have had such a surreal experience. So I gave my mind time to digest. I think that's quite important to do. And then I basically just wanted to enjoy the rest of the weekend. So I went for a delicious breakfast at Kai's. I saw a friend and clown, Luke McQueen, with his excellent show, Comedian's Comedian. I recommend you check it out if you can. A daytime preview of hilarious absurdist Joey Page's new show. Had a photo shoot with a local photographer, Gary Marvin. I basically spent most of my time reading as well. Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. Beautiful, eerie. It was like reading a mirror of my mind. So A great choice, Elise, thank you. I then got home, filmed the intro to this video, I read the reviews of my 2011 show, Where's Eric? And now we're here. Yeah, it's a bit of a push awarding 3 stars to Eric Lampaert, given that his show wings it. Chortle, 3 stars, just. Lampaert more often than not runs down a comedy cul-de-sac. Only his elfish personality and exuberant nature allows him to back away from regular dead ends with a modicum of dignity. Ouch. The Fest, 2 stars. Hopelessly derailed by Lampert's distractions as he veers from one improvised sideline to another. Overstated and overplayed. The List, 2 stars. The fact that Eric Lampaert is painfully aware that a lot of his improvisations are not working does certainly make for an amusing show. It cannot, however, be the basis of a successful comedy career. 3 I can't even read. 3 weeks, 3 stars. Well, that was triggering. The entire month of August in 2011 was painful. It was horrendous because I was going to a show that I knew was bad halfway through the run, and I didn't know how to fix it, but I had to just keep showing up, and that really hurt. Nothing above 3 stars, but forget the reviews for a moment. It was hard because I wanted to do my best for the audience and for myself, and it was a sudden awakening moment that I just wasn't good enough. And I look back at that moment in time, and I wish I had received better guidance. Now I take responsibility, like I was the one that was bad, but I wish it would have been nice if someone went, no, hold off for like another 2 years. Oh, but I'm ready! You're not. It would have been nice if someone just went, just stay there, because you're not ready. So yeah, it wasn't my best work. Well, actually, that's not true. It was my best work. But looking back, it would have been nice to have received some guidance. That being said, because it was so difficult and I came out of this festival haunted by my abilities, I was then forced to get better. It was either quit or keep going, right? And so I worked with a couple of writers to help me actually write some jokes because I was basically just improvising. I ended up studying improv in Los Angeles at the UCB Improv School. And basically all of that led to a run of much better shows. And one of them, in 2016, Alien of Extraordinary Ability, basically got 4 stars all across all the reviews. And that was awesome. That was a good feeling. It even got top 10 shows at the Fringe from the Amuse Moose lot. So that was really good. The Alien of Extraordinary Ability became an album, sort of, right? Because the show itself was actually quite visual. It had a lot of like not only physical performance, but it also had like some projections which can't really translate in audio form. So the album is a rough estimation of what the show was like. And if you want to check it out, it's on Apple and Spotify. So yeah, go listen. All this to say to you artists out there, writers, actors, painters, musicians, whatever your thing is, don't give up. Keep going. Stay curious. You will get better. Like there's no doubt. Like, and it helps to step out of ego to gain a better view of the bigger picture and traverse this journey with humility. When I think back about those reviews in 2011, I just didn't want to look at them. They were too painful. And now I look at them with humour. Not only because, well, I've gotten better. Good, right? You'd think so after 10 plus years. I've gotten better. And it's kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Hauntingly beautiful to be able to look back at the past and acknowledge that that was me. In 2011, that was me. And yet, completely different person. The evolution that happens with a human being, with an identity, with a character, with the self, the relationship with your internal world and external world keeps evolving in such a way that this story is incredible. And I don't just mean my show, I just mean this story, the one that we're all participant in, is humbling. And it's amazing. And so looking back at my terrible reviews, I actually feel, I don't know, there's a lot of love for them. I love that they exist. I didn't at the time. Awful! Awful! Ouch! So, why are preview nights and work in progress shows necessary? Well, it should be obvious, right? We could just end the video here. Done! But basically, it exposes the gap between rehearsal and reality. Right? Reading the lines out loud to your wall is useful, right? Because you need to practice it, but it's controlled. In the past, my shows were basically all stand-up, so I could like test bits out at comedy clubs and then just smash it all together. But 0-1 is something completely different. It's a one-man show, it's a piece of theatre, and a lot of it can't be worked in comedy clubs. So what's interesting about performing it for the first time to an audience is that it introduces real audience energy.
Cover yourself in chutney.
Real timing disruptions.
Seriously, do you hear that? Knock the door.
The thing that happens later on is a callback. It's really fun. Real silence. I thought that was going to get a laugh. Right, and the preview reveals what actually lands, and instead of what you believe works. Right. I was actually pleasantly surprised by all the laughs that I got at the beginning and at the end. Yeah, turns out I'm good at my job now. And I had a feeling that I could deliver it because of the 2 decades worth of comedy that I have behind me. So that was quite nice. I had a trust in my own ability to deliver. So that was comforting to know that I stand on a decent foundation from which I can grow. And same thing with a show, right? A show can feel coherent in isolation, but can collapse in front of an audience. So those first shows are about testing pacing, narrative clarity, emotional transition, breaking momentum, comedic rhythm. Am I relatable? Am I over-explaining? Can I just show rather than just tell? Where does the attention drop? All these different things that you have to consider. And remember, this is something that I had to remember. The audience is a diagnostic tool, not a jury. Right? So silence is data, not rejection. Laughter in the wrong place is information. Even though you know you could do better as a writer and as a performer, you're not wasting their time because they get to see the blueprint of a show. They get the backstage access, the behind the scenes of what the show will eventually be. And a lot of people really like to see that kind of more intimate aspect of a show. It's like some people like to step into the kitchen and watch the cook prep the meal, like saute the aubergines and flour the fish, I don't know. But and then they get to enjoy the meal, right? Well, it's the same thing with the show. So get out of the mindset that you're wasting their time. Don't apologize. Just do your best and then thank them for having participated in the creation of your art. People like to see that. Here are some interesting questions that I think you should consider when moving forward from having done a preview show, and actually also in writing the show. But obviously when you write it, it's good to consider the audience, but like I said, the whole point of a preview night is to then get this immediate feedback. And it's little things like were transitions smooth or abrupt? Like sometimes in my writing, I'll be able to switch from one, if you like, paragraph to another quite well because I wrote it. And then as it comes out of my mouth, I realise that something's missing. Maybe one word, maybe one sentence, just something to help transitions. So was it smooth or abrupt? Do you want it to be smooth or do you want it to be abrupt? All these different things have to be considered. Did the opening hook immediately? Was it a strong opening? Again, you can know that in writing, in performance. Sometimes you might also go, well, I know that it's strong, and therefore that's what I'm going to give them. You know, like for example, some chefs will cook a meal and then they'll get feedback from their, you know, the people eating the meal. But sometimes they'll go, you know what, I'm a Michelin star chef, eat what I've made you, yeah? Did the audience understand the stakes? Not the stakes to eat, but the stakes that, you know, penetrate the heart. Did they care? That's an interesting one. Did they even care about your show? And yeah, I mean, there's loads of questions here. I'm going to put them all in the description below so you can actually have a look, because they are well worth considering.
Note to self, Eric, no chocolate coins, because otherwise it looks like shit.
I bought some chocolate coins for a little callback later on in the show, which would have been amusing. I mean, it technically got a laugh, but what I didn't anticipate, which you'd think would be obvious, but the chocolate melted when pressed against my hot skin. And therefore, it came out all sort of soggy and gross and sort of a little bit looked like shit and not what I was going for. And so there we go. I learned a lesson. A lesson that you think was obvious. But until you try, you can't really know. Right? I mean, yeah, maybe it was obvious, but now I have a lot of chocolate coins to spare. I might throw a party. Preview night is not about proving the show works. It's about discovering exactly where it doesn't under real pressure, right? Better fail in a preview than during opening night or press night, you know? And revisiting these reviews from over 10 years ago, something which I dreaded and ignored since basically the disaster of that show, even the 2-star reviews kind of offer glimmers of hope. He's certainly got the ability, but Lampaert simply needs more jokes and greater self-control. True. Eric Lampaert is charming. His gags can be funny and he's definitely engaging, but he lacks discipline and it sinks the show. True. Go if you feel you can be satiated by raw talent alone. I mean, basically it said the show shit, but this guy, there's something about this guy. Hey. So that's pretty good. This was an interesting exercise for me to, you know, I acknowledge that the show was bad. But what was interesting in the last few years, I sort of forgot in my own ability, right? There's an amazing thing that happens, and I say amazing not in a good way, but there's an interesting thing that happens to an individual who loses their confidence, right? It can crush a spirit. It can really crush someone's ability. I had such confidence in my 20s and yet I was worse. And now I'm a better performer. But I lost that confidence in the past few years, past decade. And so there's something really beautiful, I don't know, about revisiting even those horrible reviews, because they've ignited in me a sort of spark that actually maybe was always there, but that I sort of forgot about. And I'm really excited. I'm really honestly so excited to show you 0-1, to perform it for you. Hopefully you'll come and see it live. It's my best work, which you'd hope, right? Chronologically speaking, you'd hope that someone keeps getting better and better, but it really is. And it's the first time maybe I'm really excited to share that story with people. And yeah, I'm getting kind of emotional just thinking about the fact that it's taken me this long to come back. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you again. I don't know. I can't actually see you. I don't know. Are you real? Hello. Mwah!